Spider-Rex, King of the Dinosaurs, explored. No matter how many reboots Spider-Man gets in the movies, no matter how much people rave over Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy being the best one, and no matter how popular the MCU Spider-Man gets, there is one thing that remains constant. Despite the constant discussion over Maguire, Garfield, and Holland Spideys, Into the Spider-Verse is probably the best Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is also on its way, and we have high expectations for it. Recently, Marvel Comics released a miniseries that expands on the Spider-Verse storyline. DC had previously launched its Jurassic League, and Marvel has followed suit in this miniseries by giving us Spider-Rex, a dinosaur-era Spider-Man. In today's video, we will talk about Spider-Rex and go over how he came to be. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Spider-Rex, Edge of Spider-Verse. A miniseries known as The Edge of Spider-Verse expands the Spider-Verse that we know of as it adds new, exciting, and unusual versions of Spider-Man to its arsenal. The first issue, written by Alex Segura, Carla Pacheco, and Dan Slott, glosses over 4 versions of Spider-Man, namely Spider-Laird, Aranya, Spider-Rex, and Spider-Man Noir. You must already be familiar with Spider-Man Noir, thanks to his beyond iconic appearance in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The issue is laid out as a miniseries, with each series going over a certain Spider-Man from the Spider-Verse, and as such, the unusual but amusing Spider-Rex finds himself the star of the third segment. But before that, let's go over why and how Spider-Rex is relevant. After Spider-Laird, a Scottish Spider-Rex from the 18th century, gets his intro, Madame Web visits him in his timeline. She introduces the concept of the Spider-Verse to him and tells him of a terrifying war that will test him and every other one like him. In the miniseries dedicated to Aranya, Madame Web finds her going through an internal transformation that powers her up. Some older villains that she had previously dealt, such as the Sisterhood of the Wasp, return. Aranya also has to deal with a hunter called Delilah. After she is done dealing with Delilah, Madame Web reappears and asks for her help. The situation seems to be a dire one, which probably results in Aranya traveling back in time and to a different Earth, quite possibly to recruit another Spider-Man. This brings us to the prehistoric era in Earth 66. It is hard to pinpoint the accurate time period in this timeline, but according to the illustration, it all happened long ago. Here, Spider-Man is no mere human spider. It is actually a dinosaur. He is fighting a dinosaur who looks like the Green Goblin of his world. We also get a short backstory of how things turned into the way they are. A little longer ago, Peter Parker was your average pterodactyl. The joke comes off really well on print since you can see the smooth wordplay on the word pterodactyl and Peter Parker. He was being bullied by an antagonistic Tyrannosaurus Rex known as Noranosaur Man. The name is probably a play on Green Goblin since his color scheme is quite similar to Norman Osborn's villain. Noranosaur Man was ordering his henchmen, in this case other dinosaurs, to get Peter Parker. He then bit him when a meteorite filled with spiders crashed into them. Suddenly, Peter's entire physiology changed. He went from looking like a regular pterodactyl to one with a red and blue spider suit. In this case, it was a complete physical transformation instead of being an externally made suit. He wakes up from the accident and realizes that something is not right. Aunt May and Uncle Ben, the pterodactyl versions at least, seem to be concerned as they bring berries to their nephew. Meanwhile, Peter wonders about what he woke up as. Noranosaur Man has also changed as a result of the meteorite phenomenon. However, his form turned into that of a pterodactyl, which he hates. He closes in on Peter Parker and tries to attack him, but Peter, who is now Spider-Rex, yes, he somehow turned into a T-Rex, so it is like the two dinosaurs swapped, slashes Noranosaur Man with his swingy tail. Noranosaur Man believes that Peter weakened him from being a T-Rex to a pterodactyl with his blood, but Peter points out how he was the one who bit him. The weakening makes Noranosaur Man worse as he begins to pursue Spider-Rex as he calls him out on his weakness. Peter cannot deal with all this anymore, and he uses his webbing to attack Noranosaur Man's henchmen, or rather, hench dinosaurs. His webbing is also natural instead of being artificial like, let's say, Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland Spider-Man. You cannot expect a dinosaur from a long time ago era to concoct his own scientific webbing, can you? Anyway, Noranosaur Man still keeps mocking Peter after calling him an orphaned runt. When Peter points out how the very weakling he is making fun of is now stronger than him, Noranosaur Man flies to catch up with Spider-Rex, who seems to be having an amazing time swinging from branch to branch with his webbing. This is strange as web swinging cannot be as fun as flying as a pterodactyl. But it is understandable why Peter Parker is ecstatic to experience a massive influx of power as Spider-Rex. As he swings away, he thinks about telling Aunt May and Uncle Ben about him now being like the king of the dinosaurs. However, the branch holding his webbing breaks, as branches are not nearly as convenient for the sport of web-swinging as the skyscrapers of New York City. Spider-Rex falls on Tyrannosaur Man, causing the latter to land on a bunch of other dinosaurs. What Spider-Rex finds next changes his perspective on life forever. This moment is surely a moment of deja vu. Peter Parker, or Spider-Rex, soon finds out that he has fallen on other innocent dinosaurs, prehistoric pedestrians. He sees the collateral damage that has been caused by his actions and feels guilty for being reckless, especially because he was swinging away while feeling extremely prideful and borderline cocky. If he had toned it down, the branches would have probably stayed intact. However, this incident helps him realize how with great power comes great responsibility. Or, with gra power, there must also come grey responsibility. The final panel zooms in on Aranya, who has seemingly traveled back in time and finds Spider-Rex. It is only natural for her to almost cuss out, considering what she witnesses is far from normal. Even in a world where it is acceptable and believable to have a Titan erase half of existence with the snap of his fingers, along with some fancy otherworldly jewelry, in his case the Infinity Stones. The storyline is a lot more lighthearted, which makes sense with its unusual setting. It also cleanses the palate of the reader before the story transgresses into the heavier story of Spider-Man noir. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks everyone.